And then the other thing I want to mention before we get to this Andrei Arlovsky interview is that Tim Kennedy has come
Yeah.
out and admitted to something that's been speculated on for quite a long time, that he has lied and embellished his service. I'll read the statement here because I have it printed out. He put it up everywhere. And he says, I want to take full and unequivocal responsibility for a serious mistake. Over the years, I made public statements and gave interviews in which I unintentionally misstated aspects of my military service. I'm going to read this whole thing, but I'm just going to commentate on one thing. Maybe I'll interrupt again at some point. But when he says unintentionally misstated, this just sounds like press BS to me. Like,
I,
you don't unintentionally misstate aspects of
I,
your
I,
service. There will never be a time that you go, I won, I was awarded this, and you never did it. So it was intentional. I don't think you could say unintentional. That
I think
doesn't just,
that well, to me that's a PR person. That
yes.
I bet you I bet you he wrote it the way he probably
Yeah, I don't
honestly wrote
like
it. And
that. But
I think a PR person got in there and said, "No, we."
I
So
don't know, but I'm going to keep going. But I call BS on the unintentional. No, you were intentional when you
no.
said it. So anyway, most notably, I implied directly or indirectly that I had been awarded the Bronze Star with Valor. That is not true, and there's no excuse for it. I never received that honor, and I deeply regret ever suggesting otherwise. That kind of recognition is sacred. It represents extraordinary courage under fire acts that risk or cost lives. To those who truly earned it, and to the families and brothers in arms, I offer my sincere and direct apology. What I said disrespected your service, and I take full ownership of that. I was young when I stepped into the public eye, and while I wasn't prepared for the scrutiny or pressure that came with it, that doesn't absolve me. I should have known better. Integrity is not situational, and I failed to uphold the standards I claim to represent. To the military and veteran community, especially those who have served in combat or lost people they love, I am deeply sorry. I know I've let many of you down. You had every right to expect more from me, and I didn't live up to that. This apology is not the end, it's the beginning. I am committed to rebuilding trust through honest reflection, visible accountability, and ongoing service to the community I misrepresented myself to. I will no longer speak about my service in a way that elevates me beyond what I actually did. From now on, my words will be guided by truth, humility, and respect. I understand that words alone don't heal disappointment or restore trust. Only time and action will. Thank you to those who have held me accountable. I will do my best to honor that accountability from this point forward. Tim Kennedy, I'll let you give your take on it, but it's just one thing I will say, man, like prior to working with SOFREP, truth be told, I never even heard of stolen valor. It was not something in my vernacular, right?
Sure.
And I still think the public holds the military in a very high regard, right? And I see that when I go to Islander games or Met games and they honor someone in the crowd, and it's a bigger applause for them than for the players
Sure.
themselves. But I will say, I think guys in the public figure realm in the military, and it's probably going to impact people like you, are losing a lot of credibility when this has happened multiple times. Guys in government, guys in,
No, it
fighting
is
like
right.
him and do podcasts. And truthfully, right, there's probably going to say, well, if this guy lied, how do I know these guys aren't lying about Benghazi? How do I know they're not like, it just the same way. How do we view politicians? Well, they're all a bunch of liars because we've heard lies from so many of them, and it screws over everybody. And I just think I, I don't understand it because yes, everybody has lied about something in their lives to some extent, right? Well, no one has been 100% truthful all of the time, probably in their life. But I don't know, man. I've never had the desire to lie about something like this. It's very strange to me, man. It reminds me of like that comedian Steve Renazzisi who said I was there on 9/11, and he wasn't there on 9/11, and he'll always be remembered as the guy who lied about 9/11. And to me, Tim Kennedy, regardless of a great fight career, and I've interviewed him, he's a great guy, like, but regardless of a great fight career, the stuff he's done in the public figure space, truthfully, I think from here on out, and it's been like this for a year, so it's not like he just came out after this happened. This has been ongoing, right? And he's finally done this. I think he'll always be known as the stolen valor guy from now on. And
Well,
that sucks, but like you kind of made that bed. And if you would have written this a year ago, I don't know how long this has been going on, but we've all heard about this. If you would have nipped this in the bud early on, But to me, this just seems like it's probably impacted your career in such a negative way that you waited until you had to address this and you had to
And
apologize. And
yeah,
look, there's I'm not a guy. I'm not a military member. I'm not someone who's ever received these awards. So it's not me to be like, I don't accept your apology. This doesn't impact me. But for guys who actually have received that honor, I could understand them being like, I have no respect for this guy. I get that.
no, it is being in a public figure. I get it. I get the need, or not the need. It's how can I explain this? And it's hard because you do have the veterans. You do have veterans that have great service. You have veterans out there, and then you have the veterans that are public figures that are in this world that guys, if you haven't been in there, it's hard to explain, and you can get caught up to where somebody may embellish something for you, and you just go with it, and then it
That's
just
not the case
steamrolls.
for this, though.
But
He
that's what
said it. He
it,
personally
and
said this.
and that's where, or you step on your dick, and it just keeps going, and you don't know how to stop it, or you know how to stop it, but you don't for some reason, and that almost happened to me on that HD Vision commercial.
Yeah, I know you're going to bring.
Remember?
I had a feeling you
Yeah,
were going to bring
remember
that up,
that?
but that's
Oh, I'm
someone
not
getting
defending.
something wrong.
I'm not
No, but,
defending
but
it.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't put
I'm
you in
not
the same
defending it.
category because someone got something wrong about your
Well, that
background and they put it in a
well
commercial.
that's again that's where immediately stepped. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna go sideways quick. And an SF guy hit me up right there. I mean, no shit. I got hit up blasted by some dude. He was a douche. But I was like, hey man, I didn't do that. And I called the people. I like, you got to fix this now because that's how serious it is. So I agree with you. No, I'm not defending him. I agree. That's how serious it is if you let it go like this. Now you got to stop that burn right there. And that's one of the reasons why I did the Ranger Way. It's because people are like, hey, you deployed with Ranger Battalion. You retired. You're like, no, I fucked up, and that's going to get out. So you know what? The old clear and present danger. Get on top of it before, and if people like you for it or they hate you for it, you're going to be honest. But you put it out there and you let the chips fall where they may. That's not what happened here. Obviously, he didn't. He should have. Um,
But I can't compare the two because he created this. No one
you're
came
right.
out and said
You're
you
right.
were awarded this medal.
You're right.
He said I was awarded the Bronze
It was a
Star
Bronze Star with Valor.
with valor.
Yeah,
It's not someone who got his biography wrong. Like I remember when Jack Murphy and Brandon Webb went on Wilcow and Deneen Borelli was hosting, and she said, "I'm here with Jack Murphy and Brandon Webb, and they're Navy SEALs." Right? And Jack's like, "No, I wasn't a
no,
Navy SEAL."
I was a
That's not
Marine.
his fault. I've never heard either those
No,
guys
you're right.
lie about something like this is just someone truthfully, right? Like it's nothing personal because the interviews I've had with the guy were good, but like this is just someone being a liar. This would be no different than me saying I served in the military.
And it does hurt. It hurts the veterans. It hurts the military community. Just like when we had Rob on, and I said, Rob, dude, you are the one of the people that are the top of even the public figure military guys. You can't be out there drinking and setting that example because it reflects on all of us. And you're spot on. This reflects on all of us. It creates distrust in the veteran community and the veteran community that's out on the social media world, which when you're in there, you got to hold yourself even to a higher standard than just somebody that isn't, because people are going to try to pick and find that chink in that armor. And if you have lied like he did, they're going to find out. You can't hide it.
Why do you think people feel the need to like I don't get it. Like I think when Dick Blumenthal, and we talked about it, ran for senator of Connecticut, right? And he's still
Yeah,
the
I
senator of
know.
Connecticut, and he said, I'm a Vietnam veteran. And he wasn't a Vietnam veteran, right? He was Vietnam. And to me, this is the same thing. But to me, that was probably done with, hey, I could get the votes of the Vietnam veterans. Like, I think Tim Kennedy, if he never lied about this, is looked at as like a G.I. Joe type figure. He's an MMA fighter. He's a Green Beret.
He didn't
He
need to. That's the
looks
thing. He didn't need to lie about
yeah,
it. He's
he
already
looks
got the
like a
credit.
G.I. Joe
He
type
does.
guy. Like
Yes.
I don't think any civilian, as a civilian, I don't even know what these awards mean, right? Like, and
I,
that's the truth.
I,
Only veterans know what these awards
I
really mean for the
I can
most part,
pro
unless you're
I
like a true military buff. So it I think you have to have something mentally wrong with
Why
you.
I can tell you why, because and you're right. I wanted to say that Tim is a acquaintance friend. We're friends. We're not
Yeah.
best friends. We don't hang out, but he's a dude that's been always cool with me. And I'm saying, hey, dude, what's going on? High five. Have a great day. I'm not here to bash him, and I'm not going to. It's not. He made a mistake, huge mistake, and take it for what it's worth on his letter if he offering that apology. Um, he didn't need to. He did. Or he'd been to special forces. He'd been to Ranger School. Maybe he never served in combat with the unit he was, but he was on an ODA. He's an MMA fighter. He didn't have to do this. So why did he? Because he already had enough credibility. He didn't need any more. There is something that I think a lot of us have, and I'm saying us because I'm one. There is that narcissism. We do what we do. We do it for our country, but we do it a lot for ourselves. And when you're putting up on even a higher pedestal, you're thinking to yourself, man, this feels great. My ego just got pumped up even more. Do we need it? But the answer could, do we even need it to be pumped up any more than that? No. And then we just let it go because we think to ourselves, well, nobody's ever going to find out. And guys, I no stolen valor over here, guys. I didn't be complete. Go read Ranger Way. Go see my posts on Twitter where people are, with you'll see everything. There's nothing out there that y'all don't know. And believe me, I put it out there how many scripts I have, and but what I'm getting at is when somebody does it, and if you don't correct it right away, you get that good rush of, wow, man, these guys are giving me high fives for something I didn't do. They're never going to find out. I'll just go with it. And that's a mistake. And if you don't nip it in the bud right then this is what happens. It just continues to spin out. And then you find yourself at a time where it just continues to steamroll and steamroll. And you're like, how do I stop this without blowing up my career? Because now my career depends on this. Now my career depends on the speaking events, the endorsements, the promotions. And this is part of me getting those promotions and endorsements was this lie right here. If I give that up, I've lost everything. But you got to understand that integrity has a price and you're putting that price on it. And if you don't stop it, that's why I gave that example with the HD Vision. If you don't stop it right there, even if it's somebody else's mistake, it's going to catch up to you. And this is what's happened. And now he's paying the price. And, I don't want to say I feel sorry for him. I don't, it was his doing. I'm happy that at least he did this. This is at least a step, maybe in the right direction. Now he's just going to have to weather the storm, and hopefully he comes out well on the other side. But I think that's the only reason I can give an explanation why, Ian, is it's an ego. It's an ego thing, and it feels good to. If somebody says, "Hey, Tano, you got your stereo scrolls. How's it feel to get your Rangers basically a combat scroll on one side?" And I've been asked, like, guys, I didn't. I was a peacetime Ranger. That was it. And in fact, I was a junior Ranger. I've said it on this show. I'm a junior guy because I didn't want this to happen where it just kind of spun out of control, and I went
Well,
with it.
also you're
But
just not a guy who lies.
no, well, I used to, well, my wife will tell you I did. Back, but no, not in this because first of all, we are held to a higher standard. And if you are a ranger, you live by that creed, morally straight. You try to. We all make mistakes, guys. Everybody's a sinner out there. Nobody's perfect. And because I also know that what's happening right now could happen. So you have to be. And I'm out there in the public figure world. I'm out there that I still get attacked. Just like those douchebags from that podcast that attacked us
Yeah.
for
But they were
what?
right. They were right about this one. Like if we're
But they were
being
right on
honest, right?
this one.
I mean, because he's 100% saying, yeah, this never
Yeah,
happened.
and well, I mean, if you throw spaghetti on a wall, at least
Yeah.
something's going to
But
stick
but
eventually.
like I said, there's going to be the people that are be like, this guy lied, this guy like
It
think
it
about
hurts. It
like I said,
hurts all of it. It does
it's the
hurt the
same way
community.
we think about Bush lied about this, Clinton lied about this. They're all liars.
They're all
How
liars.
many of us think about that say that all the time, right? So,
Well,
yeah.
you just have to, and I say this to all the rest of especially the public figure veterans that are coming out, the service members. You hold yourself to a standard when you're in. If you're going to get into this world, this public figure world, you have to hold yourself even to a higher standard because people are always trying to dig. to see what they can get on you because that's going to get the clicks. That's going to
Yeah,
get them up.
I
But in
can't
it,
relate that to this though because this is 100% his
it
own
is his
doing.
fault, and that's the but
I
that's
can't
the
compare
difference.
the two. I
I,
really can't, man, because it's like if someone got something wrong about him and he never corrected it, that would be totally different. He came out with
well,
this.
I guess my instinct then is so don't lie, don't
Yeah.
lie
Like
about
I'll
what.
give you an
Be
example,
honest.
right? I'll give you an example involving me. That's kind of silly. It has nothing to do with stolen
No,
valor.
but
If you
this
read
was
Brandon Webb's book, I'm actually trying to remember the name of the book. I can't even remember. It was the one with the yellow cover. Anyway, he mentions me in the book. And I think his co-writer wrote this. I don't know. But he says, I hooked up with Ian Scotto, who had like this career in radio, and he worked with Larry King. I never worked with Larry King. If I met him, that was it. If anybody ever said I worked with Larry King, I would say no, I didn't. Well, it's in this book. I had nothing to do with that book. I mean,
you know
that's not my fault.
uh,
I didn't have anything to do with the book. But this is 100% him. If I went on this show and said I did things I never did, I have no one to blame but
that's
myself.
that's just it's narcissism and it's ego.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that, and you will pay the price down the road. You're gonna pay the price. You can't hide it. We've said on the show, you can't hide anything in this world anymore. There's nothing you can do. So you might as well get it out there, even the bad stuff, and just
I
hope.
just, yeah, I wish he would have, if he, the reason I think I have no respect for it, if I'm being honest, and like I said, I've interviewed the guy, great experiences with the guy. If he ever wanted to come on and talk about this, more than welcome
Of
to, right?
course, of
But
course,
I'm just being completely candid. I can't respect it because of how late this was. If
I
he would
got
have
you.
done this early on in the game, I think what this is this has hurt his career so much, and there's so much evidence of it. He has to because
Yeah,
I even saw Tim Kennedy recently stepped in on that show, The Fighter and the Kid, hosted by Brendan Schaub and wow, why am I forgetting his name? Brian Cowan. And yeah, he was in with Brendan Schaub because the other guy was on a cruise or whatever. And if you look at the comments section when Tim Kennedy's on, it's all, oh, he's the stolen valor guy. He's the guy who lied about his service. And that's what he's known about. Now, no matter what he does, the
yeah.
comments are, oh, he's the stolen valor guy. So I think it's just gotten so bad. He's like, all right, I have to address it now. This would be like, I think if you cheated on your wife and then you said this never happened for years and years. And then like 5 years
Listen,
later,
yeah.
you were like, I'm coming clean. You know, that like, there's a there's just a big difference, man. If he would have
No, you're right.
said,
You're right. No, you're right.
and
You're
like I
right.
said, it was that guy Steve Renazzisi, if you remember,
Yeah.
he was doing sitcoms. I don't even remember what sitcom. Big comedian. He was on top of the world. And when this all came out, he did Howard Stern to talk about it. That for some reason he felt the need to say I was there when 9/11 happened. And he repeatedly said I was there for 9/11. And I think more and more came out that he wasn't even living here. He was, and he eventually had to say, I lied about this. It felt good to tell people I had this connection with New York City that I don't. And I'm sorry. And guess what? I don't think his career will ever revive. If I ever see that name, Steve Renazzisi, I don't know what sitcom he was on. I don't know any of his comedy. I just know him as the guy who lied about
Good
being there
line.
at 9/11. Richard Blumenthal, the senator from Connecticut, I'll always know him as the guy who said I was a Vietnam veteran, and he wasn't a Vietnam veteran. Like, and I don't know, man. I think he's kind of done for at this point. Maybe his career will be revived in some way, and it sucks because he's an extremely accomplished guy. People dream about being MMA fighters,
Yeah.
Green Berets, and doing all the cool public figure stuff he's done, and
And he got
just
in it
kills it.
so he got in so early that he would have got it regardless. Because at the time that he joined, there wasn't a lot out there. There was him and who's the TAC P, Mike Jones, Garan Thumb, that guy. You know, there were guys like that. That there wasn't a lot of guys doing that public figure stuff when he did. So he did. It is. It's just. It is a. Yeah, you're right. It is a mental issue. It's an ego thing. It's you're not being able to accept and be happy with what you've accomplished, and you're looking for more, and there's no reason to. No, you're right. He's going to reap what he sows. Buddy, I'm not apologizing for him at all. It's not
No, no,
unacceptable. It's completely
all my only
unacceptable.
point and why I'm, there's probably people who can destroy me in the comments. I don't care.
No,
But
no,
the
no.
reason I don't care if they do. But I just think what happened to you, where they said you did something that you didn't do on a commercial, is in no way comparable to someone who came out and said they, yeah,
Yeah.
to me, this is like, this isn't maybe as bad, but this is like Wayne Simmons, who was regularly on Fox News and said, I was in the CIA and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and he wasn't. That guy 100% made up this, and this is the same thing. It wasn't that someone got this wrong and that he continued to go with it. He created
He
this. This
created
is
the
what he
problem.
said. This is what he said was his biography or
And
his, you know.
it is unacceptable. And hopefully this is a lesson learned. I hope I hope he continues to come out with honest and show integrity and show some remorse. And could this have been even better done as a video? Yeah, I'll be honest. If the shoe was on the other foot, I wouldn't be writing it. I'd be like, hey guys, come on in. Let's talk about it. All right, you're gonna hate me, but I really do. I think you could see some sincerity, and there needs to be sincerity. Handwritten statements are great, but like you said, you read that one section there. You're like, man, that doesn't sound. And so you've already lost anybody that you possibly could have come in to accept your apology. You've lost it because right there, it kind of admit you're right. I'm
Yeah, but
agreeing with you.
I don't think there's anything he could have done.
You don't think
No, because he went on for years with
he
this
won for years?
lie.
Yeah, I'm trying to be the silver lining guy here, and you're killing me here to
Yeah,
try.
I'm giving you my
No, well,
genuine opinion.
that's us, man. Of
Yeah.
course, yeah, that's good. That's us. I usually it's the other way around. No, we go back and forth with this. Sometimes you're the just silver lining. I'm like, but in this case, I am. I'm not defending him. I
Well,
guess I'm
can I put it
trying.
this way? And
Yeah, yeah, go
I
ahead.
know I keep interrupting. I think this is because you like the guy. Because here's a
I feel
genuine question.
I feel sorry for him. I
Well,
feel
here's the
sorry
thing.
for
When
him.
Richard Blumenthal, the senator from Connecticut, Democrat, and you're not a liberal, right, said I was a Vietnam veteran.
Piece of shit.
Did you have
No, hell
sympathy?
no. No,
How is
hell
this any
no. No.
different? These guys are both
I
veterans
I I
who made
I
stuff up about their service.
in my case here, you're right because of a personal relationship. Which again, we're not best buddies or
Yeah.
nothing. It's just we used to see each other at the trade shows, and we'd go and it'd be like, "Hey, dude, what's up?" So you're right. No, there is. I think that's normal. That's human. Him being being from the community is something as well. Also, I worry. I don't want to blast. In this case,
You don't want to kick a
I
boys down. I got
oh no,
you.
I don't. Now if and I do take things. I do give people. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt if you're respectful to me. If you're a dick to me, then no, I am gonna kick you. And he always has been. I think that's it. I think if it was somebody that had tried to kick me when I was down, or a politician who was still calling Benghazi liars, or then yeah, if like eat a dick. No, but in this case, he's never been that way. So I'm trying to basically I'm trying to be that sergeant. It's like, hey, dude, you really fucked up. You screwed up, dude. All right, this first step, I'm gonna pick you up. Let's see if you can keep moving. And because but in this case, but in you have valid arguments too, and I can't argue against what you're saying because you're right as well. So I guess I'm not going to blast him, not on
Yeah.
this, not here. Um, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this first one. All right, he tried. Is it sincere? The letter sincere? I don't know. I don't think so. Should did he screw up royally? Yes. Should you have done that? No way. No way in hell should you ever have said anything like that. Um, but you know what? Here's your second chance. Let's see how it goes. And you guess what? It's going to be an up. It's like I'm talking to him as a sergeant, as a leader, or a lieutenant, or a captain. This is going to be an uphill battle. There may not be any chance for victory in this one, but you're going to keep grinding. You're going to try to fight on, and you're going to try to win over these people's respect, not the public figure side, just respect because you destroyed you're destroying the community by what you did. That's the bigger picture. It's like you're right on. He is. They're going to see that, and they're going to like, well, what about everybody else? And that's no bueno, man. That's
And it's
you're buddy fucker
unfortunately, there's so many guys in the public figure realm who have lied
now.
about things. Because
Yeah.
I'm even thinking, I always try to talk about the positive and the negative, right, of everybody. But like we've celebrated Chris Kyle on this show, and we've had both the authors who worked on his book with him on
Yeah.
this show. And I remember when we talked to Jim DeFelice, Jim will say, and I think he's right on this. He says everything we put in the book is 100% accurate, and I stand by the book. And the problems were things that he said that had nothing to do with the book. When he said like I was at the Superdome
Yeah.
shooting looters during Hurricane Katrina, and there doesn't seem to be any record of that ever happening. Um, does that mean Chris Kyle isn't a guy who should be celebrated? No, because he did amazing things. But I just don't know why there's
But
so
why
many
do you need
guys in
to?
the
Yeah.
public. Yeah, I
Why
don't know
do
why
you?
there's so
Yeah.
many guys in the public figure realm where this has happened, where
I,
inaccuracies with Marcus Luttrell, and it sucks because the guys I know in the public figure realm, like especially you, Jack Murphy, Dave Park, like they go out of their way to not,
I try
you know,
to not to
to underplay.
downplay.
I even
Yeah.
think of like when we have Phil Labonte on the podcast, and it's like, hey, you were a Marine, man. Tell us about your time in the Marines, and he'll always be like, I did nothing.
Or like Phil, like Otto, man, just
Yeah,
pulling
yeah,
to get a story out
yeah,
where
yeah.
he's driving down the road hammering people in it was a Basra or Bakuba. He's like, yeah, it's no big thing. Like, dude, come on, I've been there, man. Yeah, yeah, But
There's
you're
so many guys
right.
we've on the show like that
Yeah.
who go, I didn't really do anything. These guys are real heroes or something. And like to me, those are actually tend to be the guys who did the most. Sometimes those are the guys like the guys who will say, I didn't do anything, and then you get a story out of them, and you're like, "Dude, that was amazing,
Well,
man." So the
the
guys I
saying this
respect are the ones who like downplay what they did.
the saying of it's usually the quiet one is usually
Yeah.
right. Usually right. Except in my case, because I'm fucking loud regardless. But I think you do have to, and for those new ones that are coming up and want to be in this, and I think you don't have a choice anymore. I think this is really where it's going. Is you're going to see a lot more veterans out there. Is you do want to downplay it, man. You should be humble. You should stay have some humility in it. And it is but coming back to why they do it, it's narcissism, dude. It's an ego, and all of us have egos. We all do. Don't even think that you don't. If you've been in the community, in the special operations community, in any facet, Delta, Ranger, Task Force, TF 160, being on an ODA, been a CCT, been a PJ. We do a lot because it's an ego thing. It is. It's
I
but you
I
have
do
to
feel
but
like
you have
we've
to find humility in it as well. There has to be that equalization of humility, and I think that's where those guys that do embellish they lose that humility when
Yeah, I was
you.
just gonna say, I think we've had guys on the show who I really think have very little ego. Like just being honest, actually, you mentioned one, Phil Otto. I don't see a huge ego there with that guy, or Todd Apowski. Like these are some of the most humble guys I know, and
I guess let me put it this way: the ego is always there, but it's portrayed into narcissism, or it's moved into the category of narcissism, which we're seeing with Tim, or it's moved into confidence, quiet confidence, which
yeah,
is Phil Otto. So we all have egos. We wouldn't do it if we didn't want to have something to prove to ourselves, because you're not going to make it through if
sure.
you don't have something to prove to yourself, because it's your body that's hurting. Like, man, I'm gonna push it on and I'm gonna get through because I hate having eaten in 3 months or slept 2 hours in 30 days because I want to make it for this guy. No, it's for this guy right here. But then once you do it, you're exactly right. Does that ego trend go over into the narcissism side, or does it move over to the quiet confidence side, or just the confidence side with some humility? The majority of guys, it comes this way. It does.
Yeah.
And the reason I can say this is because you don't know a lot of them, and you
Yeah.
don't because
I even think of like here's an example, right, of a guy who I think doesn't have a huge ego, Dave Park. And Dave has so little of an ego that when people say you're a combat veteran, it
he's.
bothers him
Oh yeah,
because he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, I wasn't a combat veteran. I served in combat as a contractor. Now, I don't think anyone would fault him if he called himself a combat veteron,
I know.
but he is
I remember
so
that. Yeah,
insistent that to get this accurate
and that's the
and doesn't want to be
humility.
accused of that. Yeah.
And
So,
that's the humility that a lot of the majority of us have. We do. I have some humility, guys, sometimes. But guys like Dave, that's your guy. That is 75% of them are Dave Park. They have the humility. They'll fucking shoot you in the face and they will destroy you when it's time to go, when it's time to go. But when it's done, you would never have any idea. You wouldn't even know. Like, yeah. I mean, who else? Who gets sucker punched with a fucking rock? And
yeah.
what do you have rock? And he still fights the dude off, and it's like, it's no big
Yeah.
deal. It's like,
Yeah, that's true.
come
Exactly.
on, it's like,
Yeah.
come on, Captain America. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. But that's and thankfully, 75 to 80% of the guys are like that.
Yeah.
And then you get guys like me that are right there in the middle because I'm outspoken just because I like to parody the tough guys. That was my thing. It was to me, I love doing it because I love being an obnoxious jerk sometimes. And but then you have the too far, which is
Yeah.
what Tim did and what he was, and the embellishment where that's the narcissism, and that's I guess it's where operators and operators who go in the public figure world, they have to balance that. And it's easy. It really is easier than you think, guys, to go this way. Um, but majority of guys they won't. They're going to stop it. They're going to like, nope. Like Dave, no fucking no. I didn't deploy. Stop telling me. I mean, I didn't get. I wasn't a combat vet, and I defended him on extra. Like,
Yeah.
dude, come on, dude. And then I was like, dude, I don't give a shit. Dude, this is a stupid argument. But anyway, who cares? You got into combat. I don't give a shit if you were a veteran or you were service as combat. But in this case, yeah, he let it go when he could have stopped it. And I am in complete agreement with everything that you said. I'm just being the good guy in this because I don't want to see this go to where he loses everything and all of a sudden
No, of course. Yeah.
and
I of
nobody
course wouldn't
wants
want
it.
to see that.
And
And
nobody
and I
wants
think
to
the
see
fact that
that.
he put this out himself, says that he's
Says
probably in
he's
a
trying to
good enough
heal.
place that he could say, I'm
And
coming
I
clean about this.
and I guess that's also why I'm not kicking him when he's down because to me
Yeah.
it's as a captain or if I was in charge if I was his NCO or his OIC or I'd be like okay this is the first step but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
ain't
you
gonna be
have to.
easy.
Yeah, you have to. And yeah, maybe he will do something that will revive him from this in some way. I'll tell you real quick, actually, before we get to the Andre interview, my funny story with Tim, because I interviewed Tim about, I think 3 times. Am I stolen valor if I don't have the number right? No, multiple
I'm gonna
times.
go
I know
back and
that.
check, you son of a bitch. I'm gonna look, man.
um,
That was only 1.5 times because you left the show midway.
So the funny thing was when I did soft rep, every now and again, Jack wouldn't be there, Brandon wouldn't be there, and Drew wouldn't be there, and it would be like I would call Jim West, especially for someone like Tim Kennedy, and I was like,
There's a
"This is
there's
perfect
another
because
there's another dude that's a bad. That's you
oh
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
He
man.
so and Jim trained I don't know if it was more than one guy. I know he trained one of the early UFC fighters. So Jim has been involved in UFC
Yeah.
since
Oh,
very early on. He's trained boxers. I mean,
yeah.
he there's no one who likes fighting more than Jim.
There,
So I was like this is a
he's a
natural
badass, badass.
yeah, I was like this is a natural thing to have Jim on with me interviewing Tim. So yeah, we interviewed Tim Kennedy. I think it was fight week. I don't remember who he was fighting at the time. And Jim is asking him a lot of technical stuff, and I mean, he knows fighting. So Tim, I could tell is his mind is kind of elsewhere during the interview because he says, "Oh, I'm home with my kid. We're kicking around the soccer ball. He's having fun with this." And I could tell he's not very focused on the interview. He's focused on hanging out with his kid, which to me it's like, why even do the interview? Just
No.
hang out with your kid. You don't have to
Yeah.
do interviews. So we had a good interview with him. It was fine. And then when we got off, I remember because we did it by phone. I remember Jim called me about an hour later, and he was like, I don't know, man. He's like, I think he's about to get his ass kicked. He's like, it's fight week. He's laughing, having fun with his kid. He's like, you got to be focused. You got to be angry. He's like, he's not going to get in there. He's like, he just seems like he's carefree. And sure enough, man, he lost that fight. Like Jim knows fighting, man. And I could tell, like, if Jim had to fight, he's not having fun that week. And I think to hear that, he was just like, I guarantee you this guy fighting him is training harder right now if he's out kicking a soccer ball with his kid during an interview. And by and large, anytime I've heard Jim comment on a big fight and give his predictions, he's been right almost every time. He knows his stuff, man. So
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's a cool story. And Jim's a badass, man. I
yeah.
think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I
I
don't know
did a
what's going
couple
on.
months ago because every now and again I feel bad that I haven't seen him, and I'm like, "What's going on, man?" And I'll call him
What?
on the phone.
Yeah,
So
what's he doing?
he's
What's he up to?
he seems to be doing good. I know he moved out of New Jersey. I don't remember where though, but he's still in the area. He's still in the Northeast, or it might be in like maybe Virginia or something like that. But still working for the main company that he does, and he does well. So yeah, seems to be doing good. I know that
Yeah.
actually this might to keep it vague. It sounds like his son, who was in with us when I was in studio, son might have gotten into a little bit of trouble
Oh
that he
no.
was taking care of. And that was his son who was like the kid who was not getting in trouble and not taken after
Well,
gym
maybe,
last.
well,
So
maybe
yeah.
he didn't. Maybe he just punched a kid in the face at school because he wasn't going to take any
I
crap
don't
like
think it
we
was
used to
something
in the
like
old
that.
days.
I no, because he's a little bit older now. I think he just got, according to Jim, it sounds like he may have gotten involved in like a wrong crowd type situation. But
Well,
Jim
hey,
seems to still be doing good, man. And
good,
yeah,
good.
I mean, when he was in New York City, I'd see him pretty regularly. But yeah, well, I'd have him back on at some point. So
Bring him on. I love talking to him.
yeah.
No, and this was a good to talk about. I think it's very it should be something that we should talk about on the show. And like what either of us said or not, regardless, I think we're both right in some aspects, and I think we're both on the same wavelength. And it just don't. There's no reason to embellish your service, guys. If you're a veteran out there and you served, I'm telling you, and Ian will tell you right now, that is respectful enough. And then
Oh
if you've
yeah,
moved on to do long tab or ranger school and you moved to do or you deployed one time, who gives a shit, man? Being
yeah,
away from home, that's a hard freaking deployment. And you should be proud of that. And I don't have any medals, guys. I was a junior ranger. I mean, I got sick. I got medically discharged. You can read about in the Ranger Way. You want to read it? Go
yeah.
by the hey, do me a favor, go by the Ranger Ways. I'll sign it for you. But but that's the thing is shit happens sometimes, and there's no reason to say you did more than what you did because what you did was more than a lot of people did. You signing up and going, you sacrificed part of your life, and it was hard, and you should be proud of that. And man, yeah, I really wish I had a better answer for you on why. And I could just tell you, just from me, my experience, just personally, I think it just is a fucking ego thing, and you just like to get your head gassed up, and you just why he lied. I don't. That's the only reason I could think, bud. And it was
Yeah.
wrong. It was wrong. And just so the community out there knows, there are ones that do have stolen valor, but the majority of the people that serve, they don't. And so, yeah, take it for what it's worth. Don't look at veterans going like he's bullshit on his service, because that's terrible as well. But
I don't think people do, but as I said, I think the military is looked at as in a very high regard with the
it should
public.
be, and we got to
But
hold to that standard.
what I think is the public figure world of the military is starting to lose their credibility.
Well,
That's what I
and
think.
maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that is a good thing. Maybe we are too much out there. Um, if it all went away for
Don't you
me,
agree though? Like I
yeah.
think
No,
if you
I
meet a
completely agree.
random guy in the street who goes, "Hey, I served as a Marine," I don't think the average individual is questioning that.
No,
But I think when people see a book and they go, "I got this many confirmed kills. I did this and that," I think a lot of the people look at that and go, this sounds exaggerated."
no, you do, and that's why when people ask me, I remember going on shows, Sean Ryan. I'm like, wait, how many kills did you kill? I don't know. They just kept coming and kept running away. I really wish I
Yeah.
knew. 40, 200, I don't know. 10? Who and does it and it's sometimes like does it really matter? All I knew is they just kept coming and kept running away. And the guys kept fighting. And that was what and that's to be honest, guys, if you're going to answer a question, that's how you should. There's your 101 right there for a public figure. That's how you should answer a question because shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your awards. Doesn't matter and all that. Um, I'm not decorated. I, but I'm blessed because I got to see the world for 10 years, and you should be proud of that. Who gives a shit for your medals? Who gives a shit for your belts? Belts are just good for keeping your pants up. What's that for? I still love that.
Oh,
But
what is that
it's you know,
actually?
but that
I
is the
definitely know that. And I'm not even a movie guy. No, what is that? Oh,
but and that's how I look at when guys come with their. I mean, because I'm not. I'll have one row. I got my tab. Got my scroll, got my beret, got my jump boots. I pushed myself. I blew even those 3 years, I blew my body up
yeah.
because I'm probably doing stuff a 170-pound dude shouldn't do. But but in the end, really, what do I look at now? I could give a shit. I mean, I love my uniform. I love being a ranger, but what I look at now, and you see guys, when you do follow me on social media, if you do, I'm, I can, a picture will pop up and I'll remember. That's what's important. Or a song, a Slipknot song will come on. Like, man, I remember where I was at. That's more important than medals ever should be. So for all you, don't lie, dude. Don't lie. if you do, somebody does lie for you accidentally, like, or is that we call it, like, get something wrong, fix it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, fix it, and then just live your life, man. And
Yeah.
if you,
Even if, it's funny, like in my case that has nothing to do with stolen valor, there will always be a book out there that says I worked with
because
Larry
you're,
King,
because
and
you
I
did,
never
you liar, you worked with
did.
Larry King.
I think I've
Yeah.
told my, we'll get to this. Thanks for checking out Battle Line Podcast. This is just a smaller clip from our latest episode, which you can check out in its entirety by clicking here. While you're watching, be sure to hit the subscribe button and thumbs up the video to show your support. Now, if you'd really like to help us out, click the thanks button below to make a donation. It goes directly to us in keeping Battle Line Podcast going